it's way easier just to be yourself. And it's like, if I'm myself all the time, then I don't have to ever put on an act. I don't ever have to, you know, pretend to be something else to impress somebody. I'm just me.
I was just going to say, did you all get this?
Yeah,
I
got
that.
mine.
Big shout out to Different Breed Clothing sending us the tees.
Yeah.
I was literally chatting to Jay this morning. I said to him, bro, I'm going to make sure that we mention at the start, like, because obviously, normally, like, we start and we just like get sidetracked and forget, and we want to start mentioning it at the start. So, just obviously, if you want to use the code, what is it, BMS10, yeah?
BMS10.
I ordered these myself as well, so I bought these. I
want to get one of those.
Mate, they're cool, mate. It's nice, the cream one. And then I also got the...
Yeah, that's sick, that one.
That's my favourite one.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it?
not... Yeah, that's cool. And then
See,
obviously...
I'm a bit reluctant wearing this out, say to like the shop. So even to the
I got
gym,
that one.
I'm a bit reluctant wearing the trend one to the gym or out in general. Just like I'll kind of think about it before I do, because I don't want to come out like a fucking dick. Especially me, I probably come across a lot more of a dick than you lot. So
I was going to put that on the other day, but I ended up going to training David Lloyd's, and I was like, yeah, I can't wear that one in David
That's
Lloyd's.
what I mean.
That won't go down.
But I rocked into the leisure centre gym by me wearing mine. I got loads of feedback from it. Even on my story, people fucking love that shit. They thought it was hilarious.
see, I think that the gym's not too bad, but I think if you wear it to the shops, if you go into Asda's in it, you might get weird looks in it. You know, so
I wear
look
their
like
clothes outside.
Yeah, I look like a rider anyway. Everybody presumes either way, but I was something...
I
yeah.
love
Yeah.
those t-shirts though, man. The fit of them, they're so light, man. They just hang off you.
Yeah.
They're not like too boxy. Like, you know, like a lot of the JP stuff, if you get like a 4 or 5XL, they're very boxy around the bottom, which is good, but those ones just hang straight off your shoulders, man. I do like them.
The JP ones are thicker, I find.
Yeah.
And also, the JP stuff tends to shrink, I find. So if you wash it, especially because the nature of the JP stuff, we wear it a lot to the gym and that, so it will be washed all the time.
I think any gym clothes, because she's sweating in them a lot.
Yeah.
And then they're being washed and sweated in. I think that they've always got a lifespan for me. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
That's why this double XL hoodie must fit me, because it shrunk.
Unless it's Gap, I don't know what the fuck they put in their material, man, but that shit just doesn't wear off. Like, I've got t-shirts that are 3-4 years old that I can still wear now. It's mad.
Bro, I put a load of stuff on my vintage because I'm like, right, I'm just going to get rid of a load of stuff. And a lot of that Gasp stuff, like, it went. And I sent Riz a bunch of stuff. And it was like, that Gasp stuff, like you say, it literally looks like brand new. And you just think, what the fuck? But it is expensive. If you think about it, it's like 60 quid or, you know, something like that for a top. So
I don't think I've ever bought one in my life, because when I looked at the price, I was like, nah, fuck that.
I got some shorts. I got some normal bottoms. They're nice.
they are nice. They fit well. Gasp stuff is quality. It's just expensive.
But Gasp use that meshy material that's very, very nice to train in.
You know what I find with Gasp? You know when you buy a lot of the white t-shirts, they kind of go off colour quite quickly? That white seems to hold. They're always crispy white. They never seem to fade.
You know,
Gasp, give us a fucking
that's
code.
got like the gasp in it. It's a little bit like ribbed. Not ribbed. It's still like baggy, but you know what I'm talking about?
I got those, the thermal ones.
Because we were talking about this the other day, remember?
Well, Chudge has gone again.
Chudley
He's
with
back.
it's probably Dex Gypsy Internet. It's fucking everyone's line.
Hey,
Sound. Can you hear
I'm
me?
crystal clear. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Did anything
I reckon it's
before...
just on the recording. It'd be fine.
Yeah. Did anything before we go into questions and stuff? Did anything happen at the weekend? Discuss bodybuilding wise. Anything exciting?
John Jewett rocked up
That was-
15 pounds ever in 4 weeks and just looked absolutely bonkers.
What did he come second?
Yeah. And I tell you what, that was a big lineup as well to come second in for him. That is a fucking result, that.
It's so impressive. Like, I won't lie, John Jewett bores me to death, but like watching his how methodical he was with his peak week and loading the food, and he was updating stories of kind of like where he was at midday the 2 days prior and like all the way through, and he landed absolutely spot on. But it's fucking impressive to think 4 weeks he was like 15 pounds up without an ounce of spill, hard as nails, is bonkers.
I think to do something like that, you can only do that if you're meticulous and you're doing feedback on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So you either need a coach that you're talking to every day and providing all the info, or you're able to do it yourself like he has been. And like, cause like you say, that is super fucking impressive, and he was rewarded for it as well. And I tell you what, it looked close 1 and 2 to me, a very close 1 and 2.
What was so impressive is when he
because like he has to down deplete so hard to get to 2-1-2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then he actually a little bit like Derek. He actually ends up better off when he's actually to the weight he should be at.
We've lost him again.
Can you see me now?
We can see you now, yeah. Say that again.
Do you reckon it's because he obviously a little bit like Derek? Like he looks better when he is fuller because he doesn't have to deplete as hard.
Yeah,
100%. It just shows, doesn't it? Because that 15 pound is just full. It's not like he's added loads of tissue in that time. Do you know what I mean? So
it's not just sugar at all.
That's what I mean. So it shows how much it shows the benefit really of coming all of the way down and then going back up slowly. There just isn't many people that would be willing to do that for a show. But there's no argument about it. That's the way to do it, really, isn't it? If you've got the patience and the time and the mindset to hold it.
What was impressive was when he was stood next to that Justin Rodriguez, that AJ Kelly, he's hilarious, that dude. You know the guy's on Instagram? So funny, man. His commentary is brilliant. But even he was saying, like, how on earth is Justin Rodriguez 40 pounds heavier than John Jewett? He looks no bigger than him. Like, he hasn't got more muscle than him. It's bonkers. He's not that much taller. It's crazy.
John's really short, though. You know?
Yeah. But John Jewett looked like he had more muscle in him, and a good chunk of it as well for me.
Yeah. I actually think John Jewett win all the rear shots. I'm not a fan of him either. I think he destroyed everyone.
I think that Charles Griffin was flat. I don't think he was full at all. Like, through his upper pecs and that, he looked very flat to me. He was peeled, because John Jewett's not easy to stand next against, is he, in terms of condition? And he looked as conditioned as him, but he just looked flat to me, I thought.
And that Justin was just way off. Ever since he left AJ, he's gone down the fucking pan.
Yeah. No clue what he's doing, that dude.
I think he's just getting a bit old, boys.
I just think he obviously needs the approach that AJ takes, and AJ had his body locked on because, what did he come, third at the Arnold or something, or second at the Arnold? Or
he won a bunch of shows, didn't he? Didn't he win New York?
And he looked freaky as fuck, but I think his physique obviously needs to be pushed for a freak factor, otherwise it just doesn't look impressive, because he literally just looked smaller, less impressive, with less pop in every shot I've seen him since he's left. It's just been like a gradual fucking decline.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that fucking press Dan was doing today? I was like, what the? Because did you know the one I'm talking about? He was pressing like 4 plates on a bench, close fucking grip, at the end of a workout, and it was like, I literally watched it, mate, and he's like, 1 rep easy, 2 rep, and like on the 3rd he started to struggle. I'm like, that's it, he's gonna rack it. The cunt goes for a fucking 4th rep. I was like, what the fuck? He's like,
Hey, you know who's fucking impressive? That Bradley Dennis, man. Do you see him chucking up those 100-kilo dumbbells in the incline for fun? Like, what the fuck is that about?
It's just abnormal.
Oh, mate, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I tell you something else. Did you, because we were talking about this in the Trained by JP group, did you see that FitX overall, where the little physique kid beat everybody in the overall?
Makes no sense.
Yeah, but Hilly, that overall
does make sense. To tell you why it makes sense,
anyway.
Because the FitX judge by who fits their class best.
Yeah.
So obviously,
why do an overall then? It doesn't make any real sense. Like, why line them up against each other?
It just looks.
It's not really an overall, then, is it? It's just
no.
It's just a load of bullshit.
It just looks crazy, and I think it's very off-putting me for when you're looking at competing at that federation.
Yeah.
Because you look at the lineup and like this guy, there's a bodybuilding guy in there that looks awesome, and they give it to him like a small men's physique kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, meh. Like,
that's happened 2 or 3 times now in this season. It happened with that tall Jack kid that I competed against. Christian coaches him. Like, he got beat by a kid.
He's from down here.
He got beat by a kid about 160, 70 pounds in a men's physique guy. I don't think he was even a good men's physique guy. Quite a wide waist, in my opinion. Jack was massive.
well, someone said to me, like, when someone told me about it and they were sending me the picture, I was expecting like a men's physique kid like Seb. Do you know, someone like, wow, do you know, I can see that. And no offense. Yeah, and no offense to the kid that won, but he was small.
Yeah.
I I thought he might have been a junior or something. He looked just young and a smart kid. And I just thought the way it looked up there, it looked very un-bodybuilding to me. It didn't look bodybuilding at all.
Do you see that?
Stupid shit, mate.
Do you see that black kiddie in men's physique beat that A Banks guy, the one who's Mr. Olympia?
Yeah, mate. He was
Bro,
fucking
that guy
wicked.
was fucking nuts. And
Do you see the fucking...
Have you noticed they're changing the criteria as well, aren't they? Because they said they don't want skinny legs anymore. They want a higher short. This kid has super high shorts and a set of wheels as well. And they're saying kind of that's what the precedent they're setting ready for the Olympia.
Yeah. Yeah. And it looked, do you know what it is? I thought it looked good with those shorts, with a bit of quad showing. It really did. And instantly, as soon as I noticed it, I was like, it just feels like more bodybuilding. It feels more impressive. Do you know, it's like, that's what I would envision men's physique to look like.
But they've done that, so the guys have to train their legs, innit?
Yes. Yeah.
They can't just make weight by not training legs.
Yeah.
Which is rightly so as well. Rightly so. Fucking right.
Even though it's funny, isn't it? Because even though they wear shorts, when you see they got wheels, it just flows better. It just looks better from head to toe.
Every shot looks better to me.
Yeah.
Because I could see that bit of quad. Everything just looked fucking good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Should they made the comment about the wheelchair class and the whole MPC took note?
Are we working through those leftover questions from before? Did we have them?
No, I haven't got them anymore because I changed the account to change it into my other account for the tattoos, and I've lost all the questions. I had like 45 odd questions.
That's got some.
Yeah, I think I still got some floating around. See if I can find them.
Yeah, sound.
There were loads.
Riz, how's your season going?
Going good, bro. Going good. I'm on 4,000 calories, which is a decent amount for me, bro. Over 5 meals. I get that down easy. Martin's up my Lantus. Put Rapid in. My blood glucose is getting a little bit high in the morning.
What's it at?
Do you reckon that's the GH though?
I was just going to say that.
How much
the GH has been at 2 IU since we started the reverse phase, yeah? And I was waking up at like 4.9s, 4.5s. You know, it just always changes, yeah? Depending on how long I sleep as well. And then I've started hitting like 5s, 5.2, 5.3. Sometimes I go back to 4, but then it goes, it's generally trending towards the 5.5. Mine goes, put the Lantus up a little bit, put the Rapid in post-workout, because you know I train late. And then he goes, I'm going to keep your food the same, because you're putting weight on. I'm getting stronger in the gym. I still got, you seen I sent you my pictures the other day.
Yeah, you look fucking great, kid.
I still got midsection, just about. And then we just put in 2 off-plan meals a week. But they're still like
metformin in before bed?
I can't use it because I get shit.
Yeah, same.
Mate, to be honest, for me, if your food's higher than it ever has been for you, then your blood glucose trending up a little bit. It's not really so much of a worry, do you know what I mean?
Then of course.
Because people, and I was saying this to someone, a client the other day, people really overread into blood glucose, right? So, for instance, if you're eating a shit ton of carbs and your RIS is weight, right? So, and you've only say you're doing 9 or 10,000 steps a day, can you really expect your body to get rid of however many carbs you put on top of all the protein and stuff? And just because your blood glucose is trending high when you're on drugs and everything else, as long as it's, under 6, there isn't really that much of a worry, because people instantly think I'm becoming insulin resistant, and that's not the case. What people get skewed with is where you're just using that as a rough guideline. It's a very easy method to track at home, right? And it can really give us some good information. So when I have a new client come to me and they're like, say they're a bit overweight or they're obese, I'll get them to do that straight away. Or if it's a bodybuilder coming out of a heavy off season, we'll pull the food down, make sure they're hydrated, and that will potentially let me know if they are insulin resistant. But the funny thing is, if you're as lean as Riz is now, right, and you've got all of that muscle and you were training your ass off 4, 5, 6 days a week, the chances of you having insulin resistance is fucking 0. And that's a fact, that, right? And if you went and got your H1ABC,
yeah.
that would be absolutely fine. That's the only true indicator of insulin resistance. Because I get some clients, they'll be taking growth hormone. I've got a couple of big guys now. They're on 800 or 900 grams of carbs a day, right? 2-3 meals a week, and they're taking 3, 4, 5, 6 IU of GH. Oh, my blood glucose is at 5.8, 5.9. I'm like, of fucking course it is. Like, do you really expect that your body's getting rid of all of that? You put 120 grams of carbs in every fucking meal of the day. Like, it's impossible. If we halve their carbs and pull the GH out, the blood glucose will go back to normal in 3 or 4 days. So what that's telling you is, you're not building up any insulin resistance. The reading is just becoming skewed because of the environment. And that's where, and I've had to do this a few times lately, sort of explain to clients in the off season, listen, we use blood glucose readings, prick your finger in the morning for a particular reason, but it isn't, you know, if you're at 6.1, 6.2, you're not all of a sudden type 2 diabetic. If you pulled the food back down to normal, if you pulled the growth hormone out and it was still at 6.2, 6.3 for weeks, then yes, you may be. But fact of the matter is, all of the food we take, the drugs, you can't then presume that you're becoming insulin resistant just because you see that trending up.
I think what Martin's trying to do is he's, before we even get to the high numbers, he'd rather just keep it low.
Oh yeah,
I get what he's trying to do. Yeah,
I understand that. I'm just saying for people watching, there seems to be this awful trend of like, if that number is high, no matter what, I'm becoming insulin resistant, and it's like, listen, that's not the case. Like, the biggest sign that you're insulin resistant is fat stores and fat deposits and your H number. If you were a lean, muscular person and you exercise every day and you do 9,000 or 10,000 steps a day and you eat clean food, you've really got very little chance of being insulin resistant, fucking at all.
And this isn't much about body composition. Like, I don't know if I'm right here, but that only matters if you're fat. Like, if you're starting to get fat, or let's say if you're eating too much and then you're getting fat and then your numbers are trending up, then that's a sign, right? Let's bring that back down.
Yes.
But as long as you're in shape, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But if you look at the science of Atlantis and how it works, right? Yeah. Let's just say your carbohydrate glycogen load per cell, whatever bollocks, yeah, is 98. It could potentially make it 99. So in essence, you can carry more glycogen per cell, even if it's 1%. Yeah. So in essence, it can keep you leaner. Gosh, your pancreas can only, because for me, for my weight, yeah, for my height, I shouldn't be eating like 500 grams of carb, and I'm already on that. So I get his thinking.
Well, because you've got to think, like carbohydrates, they shuttled from the blood into the muscle. Once the muscle is full, they store into fat cells. So Atlantis has the ability to make the muscle store more, right? But if the muscle is full and it hasn't been stored in fat yet, then your blood glucose will continue to ride high. And then that's the worry. If it's high all of the time from food intake, then it can start spilling over into fat. But if it's being burnt off and you're not getting fat, then you're fine, and that's not particularly a sign of that you're becoming insulin resistant.
Because I keep, normally every post-show, I look in the mirror and I deteriorate, yeah? But I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, yo, how the fuck have man still got lines on my legs? I say, any picture of the day, I go, I just woke up. And I've still got lines. I still got lines in my hamstring. I still got lines in my bicep. I'm like, oh, you know what? Whatever he's doing is working. I just fucking just do it. Fuck it.
I tell you what we could discuss, I suppose. I could touch on the short D&P runs I've been doing to clean up.
Yeah.
So AJ felt I'd got a bit too soft, which I feel is partially maybe his fault, considering he's been controlling everything. He put me on the cruise doors. He had me doing those huge high days. Anyway, so he said, right, we're going to run a mini cut. So he said, I want to pull back your insulin resistance and I want to drop some fat as soon as possible. So considering DMP, from my understanding, is one of the strongest drugs on the planet to improve insulin sensitivity, and it also has a rapid fat loss process. If you look at those two pictures I put on Instagram, where I was like 12, 14 days apart, I dropped about 9 or 10 pounds. Literally all I did for that is 100 mg of DMP pre-bed for 5 days. And then I did 25 micrograms of clenbuterol for 7 days. And then I pulled it out. And that literally allowed me to take a huge step in fat loss over the 2-week period. And you can drastically see that in the pictures. We didn't change the cardio. He pulled carbs down from 250 grams of cooked rice meals to 200. and we pulled rest day from 190 to 150. That was the only food changes. But there'll have been 2 or 3 pounds of water in there. But I mean, you all saw the changes. The changes in the pictures were drastic, and that was just from 5 days of 100 mg. And to touch on this, the doses that you see people post on the web on the internet, where people are running 6, 7, 800 mg, I think is fucking mind blowing. Like, there is a lot of high level coaches I've seen, Matt Johnson touch on it, and other people. They are a fan of the drug because when you think of the stress clenbuterol and thyroid meds can put on your heart and stuff, ephedrine, pre-workouts, DMP doesn't do any of that, and it really just allows you to sort of uncouple what's going on and burn pure fat. From 100 mg, I was a little bit warm and a little bit sweaty. Didn't affect my performance, barely noticed it. But the step forward in fat loss was drastic. So I've done the same again this 2-week spell, and I will be leaner again Friday. No performance drop, no changes in food again, and then we'll be straight ready to grow. But
do you get an instant sort of body core temperature increase at night, Hilly, when you're sleeping? Yeah.
Yeah, so I dose mine before bed, so you actually tend to find the most of the heat seems to pass during the night. It's just something I've always done, and the doses I've played with, because I've played with it quite a bit over the time. I've done 100 mg, 150 mg, and the highest I did was 300 for a bit, I think. The real benefit for the drug to me is either during a prep for little fat loss spouts, do you know, like just for a week, say 6 weeks out. But for me, one of the major benefits is, say you're doing a pre-prep, you know, like a pre-prep tidy up phase. You've come off a heavy off season, you've been pounding loads of food, maybe your body composition has slipped a little bit too much, or you want to kickstart in prep. That is when for me, it plays a huge role, because for one, it really pulls in your insulin sensitivity. For 2, it can really shed some fat sharpish without having to be silly with food. And then not just that, what I've noticed through playing about with it, it doesn't just seem to enhance fat loss while you're taking it. And I know it has a long half-life.
Yeah.
But it seems to keep your body burning fat at a faster rate for several weeks post stopping it, even when it's out of your system. Like, I used to speak to a guy that was educated like above PhD level back on the boards years ago, proper clever dude, and he was like, he said, I would choose DMP over ephedrine, clenbuterol, and all that shit all day, because as long as you know what the dosage is in your capsule or your tablet, there is no real negative side effects to doing a low dose, and there is no stress on the heart like you get from all of these other drugs. Zero stress. And I found I can do 100 mg before bed for 3 weeks with no impact on performance, no impact on anything. I found once I got to the 3-week mark, I started to notice things drag a little bit in the gym. I then did like a 7 or 10 day run of 300 mg before bed, and that's the highest I went. I didn't seem to really notice a drastic increase in fat loss, but I just felt hot and like I was sat having a coffee with my dad, and my grey trackies was soaked through the back by the time I was done.
Is your DMP crystal or powder, Hilly?
So I've had these about 3 years, and mine must be powder because they're like a compressed tablet, man. The kid that I was getting them off, they're only 50 mg tablets, where normally they come in 200 mgs or a bigger dose. I said to this guy, listen, I only want really small dosed ones because I want to play about with them over time to see where I find the sweet spot is in terms of getting a good step forward in fat loss without the negative impact on performance.
I don't think that matters though, whether it's crystal or powder, like, because the absorption of the crystal is slightly slower than the powder, I think, or the other way around.
Yeah, yeah.
They can be like how they're pressed. I don't think that matters, but yeah, because I remember like back in the day, like some of that powder stuff was fucking insane. I was chatting to Sam about this. Sam, me, we were chatting about this. Like some of those.
Fucking hell,
mate! That motherfucker shouldn't be allowed near DMP.
I tell you what, I'm not going to say what dosages we tried, but because I was talking to about me and Hilly obviously at the start. Because Hilly was like, "Have you got any DMP?" I was like, "Nah." I was chatting to Sam about this, and he's like, "Yeah, some of the fucking dosages." But we both said like 100, kind of what Hilly is just saying. 100 is like the sweetest spot, because after that it just starts to get too many side effects.
When me and Sam did that sharp clean up last year, because obviously mine and Sam's goal was to put on as much muscle as we could this year, which we have done. He's about fucking 70 pound over his stage at the minute. So we wanted the shortest, sharpest clean up over 4 weeks. And I think we dropped like 25 or 30 fucking pound in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And we just ran a low dose for 2 weeks. As soon as he felt he started to notice the affected performance, we just pulled it out. Because if you run it for 2 weeks, it's in your system for 4 weeks more or less, even at a low dose. So then we coupled that with cleansing, something else. Because the other thing you've got to think about is DMP is allowing you to burn more fat, right? What it's doing is, without going into all the science shit,
It's basically blocking the carbs, isn't it?
so it's making your body burn. Your body burns off all of the carbs, so it's going to fat. So it's going to fat for energy, like sharpish, right? So for me, in my mind, if that process is happening, then you want to be doing everything you can to increase your heart rate, to increase your body's ability to burn energy, because it's tapping at the fat. So while you're on the DMP, your steps want to be higher, ideally having something like ephedrine in or clenbuterol in, or even both. Everything that's making you burn more energy day to day means that you are maximising the effect. So what I've seen people do before is go really high on the DMP, so they don't then have to use the other drugs, or for the reasons I was saying earlier, or it's safer to do this and that. For me, it makes sense to let the DMP do its physiological job in the background, and then use other things to maximise your body's need for energy, and then the energy that it's pulling at is the fat, because you've got no carbs to fucking use. Do you know what I mean?
It's a little bit like when you run a cycle. Like, you're not just going to bang 2 grams of test and that's it. You're always going to have other stuff alongside it.
Yeah.
And with DMP, like, I think what people don't get is how fucking strong DMP actually is. Because the misconception is that most people probably haven't even fucking used it. But the people that have, you'll know, when you take 100, you're like, that's good. Let me try 200. You take 200. I can handle that. And once you go past 300, that's when you're fucked. But it takes a couple of days for you to get to that point.
It's because the half-life's 36 hours, isn't it?
That's facts.
Are you still running any off-plan meals with the DMP? Because that's a bit of an issue, isn't it?
Yeah, so I had my 1 weekly off-plan meal still.
Yeah.
But my off-plan meals are literally, I go to this place called Peri Peri Chicken after the spa. I get 3 chicken wraps and a portion of chips. So it wasn't like I was eating loads. But so what the issue can be there is, when you take DMP, as we said earlier, it forces your body to burn off the glycogen as heat, as energy, right? So the more carbs you eat, the hotter and sweatier you get. So where that comes from, Deck, is people that were running these stupid, in my opinion, stupid 7 or 10 day blasts, taking fucking 5, 6, and I've seen on the internet protocols that were like 800 mg a day. I dread to think what people felt like doing that, mate. Like, but I know some people that have done that, right? And then the worry is, because it can increase your cravings. I don't really get that, especially not at 100 mg, but some people seem to. But then and then the other thing is, because people are a bit silly, they're like, oh, I can't store any of this food, so I'll just eat what the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And if you then go and have a massive binge, you will start to sweat.
Yeah.
And your body temperature will get hotter and hotter and hotter, and then that's when it can become a bit dangerous, I gather.
Yeah, so I did make 600 one time, and I stopped eating carbs at that point, because you find carbs will make you fucking ravenous.
Yeah.
But then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to have a little bit of carbs. I might have had some oats or something like that, right? And that just set me the fuck off. And then no fucking well, I just couldn't stop. It was like you're fucking possessed. I just kept fucking eating and eating. I went to the fucking shop, like mind you, I was like 18. I didn't drive or nothing at the time, right? I must have been 18. I walked to the fucking shop 10 o'clock at night to get fucking ice cream and shit. Fucking binged the fuck. I was sweating. I had this fan like blowing in my face, and I was just dripping on my fucking floor. It's mad.
So in theory, then, obviously, I'm assuming L-Carnitine and DMP together would be fantastic.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's pulling more fat out.
Well, because the L-Carnitine's forcing your body to help pull the fat out to be used as energy.
Yeah.
And this is where, if you're clever with what you're doing, a little bit of anything goes a long way. And then this almost touches on what Dan was on about last week about using different drugs. So if we understand what DMP does, which we've just discussed, then we want to think, right, Well, then how do we increase the body's need for energy? So increase your steps. Take a drug that'll increase your heart rate, something like ephedrine. Increase your thyroid so you're burning more calories at rest. A thyroid medication. So all of a sudden, put L-Carnitine in, so then your body's being forced to use fat for energy. So if you've got all of that in play, your body becomes an ultimate fat burning machine.
I've been trialing something with a few clients, yeah. So in my prep, I'm not really told many people this, but Hilly knows this. I was doing about 3,000 mgs of L-Carnitine a day, yeah. For the last 6 weeks, I dropped a kilo every week, and my food got higher and higher. So it does clearly fucking work, yeah. So I've got a few female clients using the L-Carnitine now. No diet change. Every single one's dropping body weight every single week. It's fucking mega. I've got basically all my clients running it, and every single one's dropping weight, and it 100% works.
Yeah.
I think it's so underrated, yeah. Bro, I've run out of stock.
That's
I've been a
good.
fan of it. Yeah, it's good. I've been a fan of it for ages. I think the problem can be is when you've got assisted people like us that are used to taking clenbuterol, T3, maybe DMP, like ephedrine, right? You then take something like L-Carnitine and you're like, what the fuck's this? I'm sticking a needle in myself. Like John's like, I won't waste an injection site on it. Why would I want to, And I understand that. But I think if you are, and I've said this before, if you are someone that's trying to use the least steroids possible, or if you're a female using none, or if you're a natural client, then things like this, whether it's CV burn, whether it's L-Carnitine, like these little, I've said this for about a decade, I am a big believer in using as many little things that might make 1% difference and having them all add up over the day, every day, because like taking L-Carnitine, taking apple cider vinegar that might improve your blood glucose levels all day, right? Might be 0.03%. L-Carnitine might be 1%. Something else you do, your steps, putting steps in between meals, 1% from. If you adding all those little bits up every fucking day, day after day, week after week, it makes a fucking difference. It does.
I'll tell you what as well, and that's going to sound like a plug for Riz's L-Carnitine. And you know what? Fuck it, it is, because I was chatting to this kid, and he's getting this. What's this fucking lab with the peptides?
Biolab, yeah.
£50 for 20 mil, 10 mil.
Bro, I spoke to him,
stupid.
and I said to him, like, what the fuck? I said, mate, you're fucking getting ripped off. I said, get it off fucking Riz. What the fuck? But anyway, he goes, oh, mate, like, I bought it and this and that. And he's like, oh, I don't like it. And I'm like, okay, why? And he's like, well, because it's only 200 mgs. So to get a decent amount, you need to put 2.5 mil in. Obviously, yours is already 500. So obviously, that's a massive difference to get enough. And also, most of them will give you pip. So if something gives you pip, well, guess what? You're not going to fucking want to use it.
I found out the reason why a lot of people are getting pip here, because a lot of other labs, yeah, because they're not filtering the L-Carnitine, because filters cost money, right? Some filters are £500, bruv. They're not wanting to filter, trying to save the money. You end up with pip, bruv. It doesn't matter what fucking powder you use, bro. You still need to filter it. I don't give a fuck, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to remember, like, if it hurts, your adherence with it is going to be shit, because you're not going to want to fucking pin it.
Well,
bro,
not just
honestly,
that. Go on, Liz.
When I first made it, yeah, I thought, you know what? Only really bodybuilders are going to use this. You know, people like us, yeah? But hand on my heart, honest to fucking God, yeah, I've had more females message about the L-Carnitine than I have people like us. And they're like, have you got any more? I'm like, none. They're like, I'll wait till you get it back in then, because I'm not using no other one.
That makes sense to me, though, because, again, like, zero risk of viralization, it is performance enhancing. It's, like Hilly said, it's a small add-up of 1%, and they're limited in what they can use comparable to us as men. So I think we've seen that shift already, haven't we, with more women using growth hormone, insulin, L-Carnitine, all this sort of stuff. I think they're playing it smart, which is great to see, rather than just hammering a load of VAR and a load of Claire and T3 up to fucking 700 micrograms a day or whatever, and using the correct compounds to do it, you know?
The best thing is that it's not banned by WABA, is it, or whatever it's called? Yeah. So you're allowed to use it. You're allowed to openly talk about it.
It's like what Judy was saying there. What's the American company of professional muscle that made it? They were the first people to make it, right? Theirs was only like 100 or 200 mg per mil. So I wanted to use it loads, but there was no fucking way I was putting 3 mil of that shit in a day. No way. Absolutely not. So for years I never bothered with it for that one reason only. And it was only when Savage Sub started doing it first at 500 I was like, I'll have a fucking go at that. Because there is no way I'm putting 3 mil. I don't even care if it's water or not. I ain't injecting 3 mil of fucking anything every day. Like,
unless it's your trend.
Unless it's fucking gear, yeah. And it's as simple as that. No fucking chance. And like what Deck was saying there, and I said this in my L-Carnitine video I did a long time ago on Instagram. Like, I started using it for fertility. And then the more reading I did it, I was like, I'm off everything. My testosterone's at like 3 millimole in my gutter. If there's some claimed performance benefits, then I may as well try it, right? So I started putting it in. Remember me telling you is before the gym.
From rock bottom.
Yeah, and I was at 3 millimole, right? And my test stayed there, but I noticed an improvement in my slight strength improvement, but the amount of strength it held during the workout, which ran in line with exactly what the science says it does. And like what Deck just said there, like, it's a natural fucking product. There is no downsides to it. Like, it will improve your performance to some extent. Especially I feel when you're either run down or you're in a diet or you're in a prep, there is some fat loss benefits. There is benefits to improving your HDL and lowering your LDL. If you are a male, it will also improve your sperm motility. It directly took mine from like 20% to 50%, which is fucking off it, right? Yeah. So like, in terms of a natural supplement, there doesn't get anything more impressive in my opinion, actually. There really doesn't. For
So
males and
the away
females.
from that is the ultimate fat loss cycle, even though we are not doctors, would be DMP, Clen, T8, L-Carnitine, and maybe a little bit of T3.
And T4. And your Himbine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some Conte pre-shred. Fuck it, chuck it in.
Yeah.
Oh, that fucking shit's horrible. That is the only supplement from Conti that I actually fucking hate. And I said to Jack as well, I said, look, bro, that thing, I just can't fucking take it. Because everyone's banging on about it online. So I'm like, I'm going to buy it. So I messaged him about it. And he goes, mate, you said, try it. But he said, take one tab.
That's
Again,
what I
do? Me being me, I'm like, fuck it, I can handle 3. Mate, no.
Mate, it's the cold sweats from those over-the-counter supplements that get me. The cold sweats fucking cripple me with that stuff.
Yes.
Bro, it's disgusting, mate.
Bro, I'd come back from the gym and I would just fucking shiver. I'm just like thinking, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like you're having a come down, bruv.
Yeah.
It's nasty, mate. I do cardio after 3 caps here, and I just be fucking just getting nasty, bruv. I was like, yo, I'm dropping down back to 1.
Even at one,
I've got a question that ties in nicely to this as well. So it basically says, do any of you guys see any benefit at all in any of the SARMs or relating peptides?
No, fuck that, no. Fuck
well, I've been thinking about this recently, right? You know, because MK677, it obviously fucks up your insulin, right?
Big time.
So obviously my idea here now is, yeah, this is why I don't work with Hilly no more, because I would have practiced this with him. My idea here is, if you're using basal insulin and rapid, then use it, because it can't really fuck
because it's not the same way. Because that's your insulin sensitivity rather than it fucks up. It makes your insulin resistant rather than the production of your insulin.
Yeah, so use metformin to make the. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then
So I think
it doesn't work.
What it does is the simple analogy that I usually use in terms of insulin resistance, and we've said it before, there's 2 different mechanisms for me, but I think the main one to worry about is if you think like there's loads of gates on your cell for it to pass the cell wall for it to pass through, the gates become rusty so they can't let the glucose through. And I think stuff like MK677 really fucks that capability of passing glucose through. So why I don't think it would work is Lantus helps you drive more glucose from the blood through the cell. But if the MK677 is fucking the wall of the cell, it won't get through and you may just get fat really fucking quickly.
But what if you then use the metformin to then make the cell door greased up with WD-40?
But even let's say that works, right? What benefit are you getting out of MK677? Say appetite.
The appetite.
Right? Well, appetite, that only lasts for about what, week? Because I've run it with clients. That tapers off and then it doesn't work. What else?
I'm just thinking, bro. I'm just thinking.
That 7 to 8 pounds of water you get from it in a week just destroys your blood pressure and you feel like a bag of dicks.
Yeah. True.
That's what I found. It felt very much like the OG Dynabol to me. And that, like,
Bro,
really,
I ran it with Hilly, mate. I put 13 pounds on. I was binge eating at night, bro. I was so hungry.
I tried 25 mg daily, 25 mg every other day, 10 mg. Because when it first came out, I was like working with this fucking SARM company that would just send me everything for free. Remember, they were sending me fucking all sorts. So I played about with that, and I just wasn't impressed. And I think I don't know one person that likes it. Not one person, not one. So I'm a fan of Ostarine, particularly with females. I've used Ostarine with a fair few female clients, and I've seen very good results with it. No side effects at all. And where I think it comes into its own there is for two possibilities. Either a client that doesn't want to use steroids, or for females in an off-season setting where they're cycling on and off into the 6 to 8 weeks. You can do 6 to 8 weeks of, say, low dose Primo or low dose VAR, and then when you come off that, you can switch to Ostarine. So you can go and I did this with a client. You could do a 6 to 8 week run of, say, 5 mg VAR. You could then do a 6 to 8 week of, say, Ostarine. You could then, if you wanted to, do a 6 to 8 run of insulin and growth hormone. Then you could come back to maybe Primo or VAR, and that means, again, going back to what I always say, taking no steps back. It means that the female doesn't have to sit flat. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're not like, I'm not enhanced, I'm not taking. That way there is always a pathway allowing them to perform better and recover better. So I'm a fan of Ostarine. Cardarine, I think we've spoke about before on here.
No, dead.
I took Cardarine. AJ wanted me to try it during the cruise, and I kid you not, remember, my HDL right has never been over 171, 172 in my fucking entire life. Never. Not from anything. I did a cruise for 8 weeks. I took Cardarine, and my hemoglobin, whichever one it was at 184. It's the first and only time in doing this for almost 2 decades I've ever let fucking blood. But that does make sense of why then people notice the performance benefit from it, because obviously more red blood cells, more oxygen around the body. So the only benefit you might see from Cardarine that you would want to use it, which is none of us, is if you're an endurance athlete and you are looking for benefits in. So I've used it with a CrossFit client or two, and they all noticed quite a good improvement in endurance. But because Dan Bastic mentioned it to me when we first started, and I was like, it's not for us. I think anybody taking steroids when we're already taking drugs that will thicken our blood, Cardarine is a massive fucking no-no for us.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. If you want the cardiovascular effect, just take EQ.
I knew you were going to say that.
But the thing is, right, my argument is this, right? There's no SARM that doesn't do anything that a steroid won't do. We already take steroids. There's no point us downgrading to a SARM, which is we know less about. They've been around for a lot less longer. So why would we even bother? They're a lot more expensive. So for me, it's just I just can't even see an argument to use anything like that. And if you're not using steroids, don't use anything.
Yeah, all SARMs they are just the steroids and stuff that was created a long time ago, and rejected by science because they were shit. And all they've done is someone's gone back. Oh, what's not banned? Oh yeah, MK777. Get that fucking bastard and bottle it and sell it. Do you know what I mean?
The pathway is different, though, isn't it, between a SARM and a steroid? Like they are selective in the sense of they bind to the androgen receptor. Like it's a little bit different. But going back to what Hilly said, like not to put it down, like I've seen bonkers results of Ostarine in females, like ridiculous results, especially when they're coming from natural, not necessarily someone who's used antibiotic before, but someone who did want to grow muscle or strength, and it's their first kind of run at, say, a performance enhancing drug in any way. Like I've seen some, like you're talking 10 pounds of gain over sort of 6 to 8 weeks of good, clean, fullness muscle, whatever you want to call it. So it does seem to play really well in females. The other side of this is, and it's common now, I've seen it in a couple of the group chats we probably all frequent, of people saying this IGF frag is the same as IGF-1. They're not the fucking same thing.
No, it's not.
It's not the same thing. It is a compound that, again, mimics IGF. It's not the same thing as IGF-1. If it was IGF-1, you would be paying fucking £5,000-6,000 for a cycle, not 34 quid. It's not the same thing.
What's another good peptide that is BPC peptide?
Yeah. BPC, TB, melanotan.
They're brilliant.
A really good one.
Melanotan.
Did you know people used to use melanotan for a long time? as a appetite suppressant. So if you take like 250 micrograms, which is a tiny dose on a morning, you don't get the flush and the sicky feeling too bad, but it does make you not want to eat all day. It was dead popular, that particularly in America, for a fucking long time.
And
what about GHRP6? Is that not a good one? I've never used it.
Do you know, so I used the GHRPs and the mod GRFs loads when they first came out, right? And I did 3 times a day, 4 times a day, 5 times a day, 20 minutes before meals, all of the fuck about, right? And I was getting them from like what was classed as a very good source at the time. I didn't ever notice anything more impressive than growth hormone, just more water retention.
Yep.
And when you actually added up the cost of using both at least 3 or 4 times a day, it was more expensive than buying a decent fucking Chinese growth hormone, so it made no sense to me. And I mean, I played with 3 or 4 of the different types of mod GFRs. I did GHRP6, GHRP2, hypermorelin. I was meditating at one. Yeah, and I just, they did nothing impressive for me at all, because I was getting advice off that Brew, who he fucking masterminded all of them when they first came out. He was who everybody went to. If you Google the first protocols, they were all from him. Everything was from him. But for me, I think that they are not worth the ball ache. I was carrying fucking 3, 4 and 5 syringes on me a day at fucking university, pinning 15 minutes before a meal. And it was like, I didn't get anything noticeably remarkable from it at all.
Do you know what I think the issue these days is, yeah? Do you know, I've come to terms with this cycle works for me, and that's what I'm going to stick to.
It.
Yeah.
People see, do you look at all the new labs, they're all carrying all these mad compound, they're carrying, labs are no longer carrying just steroids, mate. These lot are carrying fucking everything, yeah? And people are, what does that do? What does that do? And they're looking for the secret to unlock their fucking inconsistency in the gym and food. That's all it is, bro. People can be lazy.
I know we've spoken about this so many times, but like me and Hilly obviously locked this down about 18 months ago now, kind of what my cycle was and is going to be kind of going forward. And it's just like Hilly said about the 1%, it's like, that's what that is. It's like, once you find your cycle, you can scale it up to get a couple more percent, or you can find the 1% and everything else you're doing. Like, is your training on point? Is your diet on point? Like, is there something you can do to improve your digestion? Can you introduce L-Carnitine, like for an increased pump? Can you use insulin? I think once you understand what compounds you get on well with, that's kind of your base, and you ever scale it up to a point where you feel comfortable, and then from there, the wins come from other areas. Unfortunately, it's not going to be pets.
Yeah,
I
but
think also,
that's the
just
problem.
as a side note, just based on how people ask questions, people don't actually understand what a fucking peptide is.
No.
So when they say peptides, bro, I know what you're saying. And I don't mean to sound like a dick to the person that asked the question, but a peptide is essentially just a fucking protein, okay?
Yeah.
When you're talking about a peptide is a bond, okay, which joins different amino acids that creates a fucking protein. Growth hormone is a fucking protein, an amino acid chain, peptide bonds holding it together into a fucking protein, right? That's a peptide. So insulin is a fucking peptide, right?
Bro, do you know what it is though? I've realised recently, yeah, people want to change their drugs, but nobody wants to change their life and how they behave day to day. Are they going to change where they eat? No. Are they? If they love bodybuilding so much, are they going to change their job? Are they going to change this? Are they going to no? They just want to just change drugs all the time.
All I'm saying is, like,
idiots.
people talk about drugs, but they don't actually understand the drugs.
I think we're going to see a boom. I think we're going to see a boom. We've seen it, haven't we? A lot of the IFBB pros are obviously becoming affiliated with these peptides, and I think we're going to see these questions asked repeatedly now over the next 6 to 8 weeks until everybody realizes they're nonsense and don't do anything, or stop paying their affiliated client sponsored athletes. You know.
Yeah, it just goes round in circles. Once everybody's bored of one thing, then it goes on to another thing and another thing. Bodybuilding's always been the same. It just runs in trends, doesn't it? Trends for this, trends for that.
It runs in trends, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a question here. I think this is a difficult one, but I suppose it's a good question. Disregarding
your mic's a little bit.
Oh, sorry, I'm miles away because I was eating a cereal. Disregarding your current coaches, if you had to go for another coach in the UK, who would you pick?
Joe Jeffrey.
That's hard, man.
No, honestly,
they said UK.
Do you know who I'd work with if I couldn't work with Martin or Hilly? It would be Nathan Stiles, because I like him.
I think I would work with Joe Jeffries, to be fair, but it would be like me being a bit of a brat on my terms, if that makes sense. Like you're like I'm not doing that training because like you don't miss when it comes to peaking. We see that often. I think I have a sensible enough head to kind of take what I need from him and learn, and then take some knowledge from him, and then maybe use that
Well, my
myself.
question is, does
Everyone's
it
loads of
matter?
good guys.
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't.
More or less, we all do the same shit, right?
Yeah.
What Hilly is telling you to do is the same thing that Joe, for the most part, it's going to be all the same shit, right? So it's more just who do you fucking get on with?
Yeah. I wish I knew who asked that question as well. It's on the anonymous thing, so I don't even know.
Someone asked that
Mine
question
would,
to me as well.
Mine would probably be Sass, just because he thinks like I do. He's old school. I get on with him. He has a very good eye, and I would struggle with other people because they're all stuck in a very, what I feel, boring fucking cycle. They all do the same shit because it's in at the moment. Everybody run a gram of Primo, everybody run 300 milligram of test, and it's like, fuck off. And I wouldn't last longer than a week with any of them.
Yeah.
I'd get the plan and I'd be like, you can fucking swivel.
Yeah.
Whereas I know with Sass, I'd get drugs that I know work, that I've worked for decades, I know his approach, he gets people on the fucking money, his eyes good, and I have good crack with him. So to be honest, he would be the perfect.
And he gets
I'm not
big, man. He's not scared to, like, he's
Yeah.
coaching my mate Ben at the moment, and like I love seeing, you know, where he's like tapping out and like he checks in and that's like, cool, add 2 more high days and 2 more off plan meals. Like he kind of has a good eye for like where to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, which I think a lot of coaches are scared to do in this day and age, or they don't do enough because people just want to look 4 weeks out all year.
He coaches this kid, that Lucas that I've shown you before.
Bonkers,
You know the
that
one?
cunt looked in that last fucking show with me. Absolutely nuts.
So we used to train because he lives like literally like near me. So we used to train at the same gym in lockdown. And mate, Sats will just like give him food like every fucking week. He'll put weight on. He'll just be like add food, and he'll just keep adding food. And he just got fucking kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's insane.
I just don't think that approach works with many people because a lot of people do that. A lot of people go to SAS, yeah. I spoke to Hilly about this before. A lot of people go to SAS and all you say is add cookie, add oats, add this. And it's the wrong person. It's just a greedy bastard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That don't work for everyone,
Yeah,
bro.
but Riz,
No.
you were eating loads and loads last off season. Loads of drugs, loads of food, loads of training.
I know. I'm not saying it doesn't work. What I'm saying is many people can go with SAS and get very big, but they can't diet back down. That is the problem.
I think what Riz is saying as well is, so we've discussed this, a lot of people go to SAS because they see that he uses heavy foods and doesn't mind junk foods. And the problem is that approach works. We all know it works. But for it to work, you have to be training your fucking ass off.
Yep.
And then you have to be able to diet down. And I think what Riz is saying there is SAS just uses the same approach with everybody. Whereas for sometimes you have to sort of look at a client and be like, hang on a minute, maybe this actually isn't suitable for you. So I know that would work for me because I train. But my only issue would be is that my head starts playing tricks when I get fat.
Yeah.
Because I was a fat kid. But I know that I would be comfortable with what he was telling me to do. So this reverts back to very much agreeing with what Chudley said. You have to pick someone that you would be comfortable following, which is the same for anybody picking any coach. I know Sass thinks like I do. I know he works like I do. I know he has the same ethos as I do. And I know that he's been way above where I've been and will ever be. So there is that respect for him. He has the client results and he's fucking worked with Chris Acedo. So I'd be like, well, you're going to do stuff that Chris does, so I want to fucking see what Chris did. And I would be going, to be honest, actually, the more I think about it, there'd be nobody fucking else to even consider.
Yeah. Anyone from you, Chad?
Yeah.
No, I've lost him all because
No,
I
I mean,
all
as
of
if
them-
coaching wise, you donut.
Oh no, I can't. Like, it's hard, isn't it? Because like I said to you, I think most people do around the same fucking shit. Like,
Yep.
pretty much everyone does the same thing. So as long as you're getting on with that person, like me and Hilly, right? We click, we get on. So I'm like, we can work together. If it's someone that I think, same as like Dan, for example, I could have worked with Dan because I get on with Dan. If it's someone that I just think, no, I couldn't work with that person because I just don't like them or don't get on with them personally. Because some people don't give a shit. Some people will just check in, get the feedback, and just crack on. I kind of need a little bit more.
I think as well, the level that we're at and the level
I
that
agree.
most people who watch these podcasts at, it doesn't matter who you work with. In essence, as long as you've got the understanding between you of what the goal is, it's very easy to find. As long as you get on, like me and Martin really get on. He's like, yo, bruv, have a calorie dense meal. I know what he means. I then crack on and do that. When someone else, as a beginner, would be like, oh, calorie dense, what the fuck does that mean? Does that mean a pizza? It's that understanding, isn't it, of what level you're at.
And to run in line with that, you really need to, you have to think about a coach that runs in line with what you want and why you're picking them. So like for me, excuse me, sorry. I'm not trying to be a pro bodybuilder. When I looked at Harry AJ, it was very much about learning and improving my coaching and my own knowledge and just having fun. And that's what bodybuilding's always been for me. So that's why I've always worked with clients that are not from the UK, coaches that are not from the UK, because people in the UK tend to do the same shit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I already know what they do. Like Jordan is a fantastic coach, and I know how Jordan would have wanted me to train and this and that. Like I've coached Jordan, but I wouldn't enjoy training the way Jordan wanted his clients to train. I wouldn't enjoy going to Martin or Tom Hayes or Joe Jeffrey, anybody, and being told 200 gram of pre-1 the test. I'd be like, fuck off, mate. Like, you give this, like, you all do the same shit. I'd instantly look at it and be like, no, I want to go and work with someone that does something different. I worked with Scott Stevenson because he's so clever. I wanted to see that cleverness applied. Alex Azarian that I worked with, my first ever coach, they literally used his picture in, you know, that famous Google thing where it's body fat from like 30 downwards. He was the one that was like 0%.
Yeah.
I was like, right, I need to know what this fucker does to get like that. Yeah, and he fucking died in a prep. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, what he was doing was extreme.
Yeah.
But I need that excitement of, what am I going to get given? It's going to be something I haven't done. It's going to be something new, because that's the part of bodybuilding I love. I don't just want boringness and, well, I know what everybody's doing and I know it works, so I'll just do what everybody else is doing. Fuck that shit. And that's what I'm trying to say is, there's nothing wrong with a coach knowing what works and doing it with people because it works. I'm saying for me, I get no enjoyment. Like a lot of clients I've got now come to me because they know I'm pretty good at what I do, but they also know I am understanding about family occasions, social occasions, obviously not in prep, but they know that I will go out of my way when they check in or midweek to change something if they've got something important going on. Whereas a lot of coaches, especially at my level or upwards, won't do that. AJ, when I said to AJ, listen, I'm at a wedding for 3 days in a B3, he didn't even fucking acknowledge it.
Yeah.
He just ignored that whole part, yeah. But because people only work with AJ because they want a pro card and they are not going to Ibiza even in the off season for a fucking holiday. So that doesn't make him a bad coach, and I understood that. That just makes him, he works a particular fucking way. He put a thing on Instagram before. You should rethink, like, and this was just to everybody.
Yeah, I remember
you should maybe rethink when you have holidays until you've got something to celebrate. Fucking hell. I told him I took Christmas Day and Boxing Day off plan. He said, don't do that again. But that's because the people that go to him are, I will do anything to win my show and get my pro card. So and there's nothing wrong with that. But that would not suit a lot of people.
I agree.
A lot of people would be like, whoa, what do you mean? What do you mean?
I think there is a lot of good UK coaches that are generally like, for a lot of people, there are some. Nathan Starr's doing really, really good the past 2 or 3 years. Cuba, people might not like Cuba, but the guy gets results, yeah. And if you're someone who's going to do as you're told, trust me, he'll get you in shit. There's loads of good. You got to give.
Said, though, doesn't it? Like the people that go to them are kind of at the caliber that, like you said, it doesn't matter who they go to. Like, they're always going to dot their I's and cross their T's, aren't they? Like, they're always going to do the basics correctly, and then it's just the icing on the cake from each of those coaches that could potentially give a different quality look.
I think one more thing that people don't understand is, if every client will get treated differently, no matter, I don't give a fuck who you coach, yeah? It's like, for example, if I go to Hilly, I know I will probably get treated a little bit better, yeah?
Yeah.
Because we've been boys for so long.
Mate, you're at the bottom of the pecking order now, kid. You got started bottom, you got where we're at.
I'm the top.
No, I am
the top. You only been there for about 2 years. You only came because I let you in.
Sorry,
what I'm saying is, yeah, like, for example, if someone like Ryan Rhino came to fucking Hilly for coaching, he's going to give him more time because he's an IFBB pro. That's just how it works.
But
You can't just be a
isn't
fucking
that Hilly
beginner going to.
isn't that Hilly being like a good versatile coach? Like what he just said about AJ, it's understanding that Ryan will do anything to win that show, whereas his everyday clients won't do that, and they have a family show. But obviously, Ryan's a bad example because he's too set in his fucking life when IB for 4 times a year. But you kind of get where I'm going with that. A good coach can apply that. I need to be AJ for this person, but then I need to be, I don't fucking know, some lifestyle coach for the next person, you know?
That's
I
something they
think
just
that-
need less attention. A
Yeah.
lifestyle client doesn't need the attention. It's not that he's kind of thinking, "Oh, fuck them. They're not. I'm not going to give them attention." That's just the attention they need. Like,
And
That's
and
what I
think
mean.
this comes back to what I was saying in the sense of I like to work with a versatile range of people. I only do 30% competitors, 30% lifestyle, 30% medical stuff. That's what makes me happy. Like what Deck was saying there, Kuba is a fantastic coach. He only wants to work with athletes and he expects you to behave like he does. Now, it is clear from watching his Instagram that he is going to expect you to do that.
Yep.
Jordan was the same, right? If you go and hire Kuba and then you complain because you want it, you go out and get fucking pissed out with us, you're a moron.
Yeah.
That's not his coaching issue, that's your issue. It is clear as day he's going to expect you to behave in a certain way because he is trying to get the absolute most out of you every day of the year. So, and this way it comes down to actually, it is just as much on the client's side to vet the coach as it is on the coach's side to vet the client, so to speak. And sometimes that doesn't always work, do you know what I mean? Sometimes there's a clash and that's just the way it is. And I do believe some people are far too uptight with things in the off season.
Yeah.
I really do. Because a lot of people got to where they were not living that rigid lifestyle. And then they have got better since. But it is very much on the client and the coach to work together. That's the only thing where I think some people slip, is that they are like, you have to do, I say jump, you say high, how high. And I just don't think, apart from in prep, there's ever need for that in bodybuilding. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yep.
I think that spoils it for people.
Yeah.
I really do. And I've seen it time and time again. People are unhappy because they're not enjoying themselves and they're not even making any fucking progress. And they're not making progress half the time because they're fucking unhappy.
Yep.
But
And
you know what
it's
it is? We can all fall into that loop here where you start being too hardcore. Because I was about to go into it this time. I messaged Martin. I goes, bro, on check-in. I go, listen, mate. I've eaten all my meals. Everything's been smashed. But I had a slice of cake at my mum's birthday. Yeah, and he was like, listen, bro. He goes, you worked hard enough for it. Carry on.
Yeah, exactly.
He goes, I don't care. That was me getting into my head, yeah, and trying to make myself feel bad. He goes, bro, I didn't give a fuck about no cake.
But it's also
Do you know what I mean?
maturity in like this is like I wouldn't have done that a year ago, but I do now with Hilly. I'll say, oh, like this weekend, I said, mate, I've got a social one this weekend. I want to take days out for some lunch. We've got a kid-free day. Mate, and I didn't go out for a cheat meal. I went out some fucking scones. And it's the best thing I've ever had. By the way, I've never had
But
scones before.
Dep,
They're
you're not
fucking
gonna.
dank. But what I'm saying is, I now know that I'm good enough at every other bit to do that. Whereas those newbies, they can't have the Nick Walker steak twice a week and then bodybuilding. They can't have the 80-20 rule. They need to have 100% initially, learn the basics, master that, and then you can start learning to be a bit flexible and pulling things out, understanding macros. Can I match this meal to that meal? Can I go out for a steak and chips and pull 2 lots of rice out of my 2 meals? That's a very like a higher level skill set, you know?
and
I don't think anyone here takes the piss.
Don't take what Deck is saying and think, well, I could do that too.
No.
And it's not just about the matching the macros. Like, anyone can match the macros. It's more, can you stick to those fucking macros? Because you'll say, I'm going to do that, but would you actually do that? Rather than go out and pig out and just eat 4 times as much as you should have eaten, you know? So,
Bro,
you know,
99% of people can't do it, mate. They can't do it, bruv.
Bro, I couldn't afford
No,
it. Do you know how
I
much
said
these
like
scones were? They were fucking £5.95.
Fuck yeah, what are they made out of? Breast milk?
Mate, they were fucking good there. I went back for seconds.
Alan, I think, is that us done? That's just over an hour. That's enough,
Yeah.
really, I think, yeah.
yeah?
Let's do one more question.
I got one more
Yeah.
question. I feel like we've covered this to a degree, but I'll run it anyway. Have any of you specifically used GH and Slin to carve up pre-show? How did it
No.
look? Was it better or worse?
Well,
I used Lantus before the Tubro show.
Yeah, I've
Well,
never
I
done
used-
the whole load it all in before. Me and Hilly use Lantus on all high days type thing, but I've never done the whole. I think Tom Hames does it with that Johnny from what I saw, where he kind of does Lantus, then loads in rapid with each of his meals. But I've never done the whole like adding GH in or increasing it at that point. No.
So the only there was a theory that what people were doing is trying to take enough diuretics and estrogens to keep all water off, and then trying to load insulin and load GH to create super fullness. And the only person that I know took it to an extreme was that Phil Viz, and he absolutely fucking ruined himself.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast where he said he looked absolutely mega on the Friday, and then I think he bolus dosed GH Friday and Saturday and looked like an absolute sack of shit.
When it like 60 I use a GH or something ridiculous.
Something. But for me, I think insulin works well in a carb up as long as you've trialled it and you know it works and you're careful with it. But it makes no sense to me adding GH, because as soon as you start putting GH in a bigger dose, enough of a dose that will create fullness, you instantly get some Q water. I find, and I just don't think there's a way. I think it's from a different mechanism, and I don't think there's any way to stop it. So I would never risk doing that with anybody.
It's too much of a risk, isn't it? Even if, let's say, you've done it once and it's worked, there's no guarantee it will work again.
Yeah, I would favour tapering the GH down to a sweet spot. I think that's what I'll try and do next time with Hilly, because GH does give me a very different look to my physique, and we've always pulled out. I think pulling it down, even if it's to 1 IU, just pulling it down so you're getting the dryness and just a little bit of fullness, and then keeping it in and running it in.
Well, what AJ did is he kept mine in until the Wednesday or the Thursday, and I think he dropped me from 6 to 4 to 3, and then we pulled to 3 on the Wednesday or the Thursday, and I think that makes sense, because I think that's keeping the fullness in, but letting the water taper out.
And that's spot on, because I see about 3 days. It takes about 3 days so I start feeling a bit skinny when it comes out.
Yeah. That was one of the things that I think that I took away that I would do with others.
Yeah.
That was a good call from him, I felt.
I'd love to try it, you know.
I would never try it with a GH. I think for me it makes no sense from like when I've put bigger doses of growth in the past, you know, when I did that fucking GH blast and shit. You put a good dose of GH in and you instantly see a film of water.
Yeah.
You see loads of mad fullness, but you see a film of water, and I just think no matter how lean you are, it's going to take away some detail.
Even if you're using aldactone, diazide, peak max, H2R, you reckon you could do it?
Well,
I was dry as a motherfucker, bruv.
Well, in that instance, you'd have to try it and see. Because the risk is, once it's in, it starts, you're fucked, because GH that hangs about. So what would happen is, say you did the approach you did was right, and you were like, right, I'm putting it in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? If you start watering by Thursday, that means that it's a different mechanism and nothing you're doing can stop it.
Yeah.
Now you're fucked. Now it doesn't matter what you do, that GH is there till the Sunday. So that's the only, you'd have to do it during a trial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. But it would be interesting. Would be interesting to see.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I'd be crying after fucking it up. But
I think what this guy's talking about in terms of really pushing the insulin and GH together, I think that is a bad idea. And I think you're asking for fucking trouble, personally. Because my problem with using Nova Rapid in a load like that close to a show is you definitely get some stomach bloat and fluid when you use
100%.
Rapid. And I think using that several times of the day and then putting fucking growth on top, I think you're asking for a bloated stomach. I think you're asking for a fucking layer of water over your midsection, and I think you're going to feel like shit on top of it.
do you not find when you use Rapid, you do a piss more?
Yeah, but I agree with Hilly. When I definitely use Rapid, I definitely get like a blurrier midsection. Like as soon as I put it in, like pre-workout, especially on the high days, I notice I just get that like slight film of water from it. It's weird.
Yeah, definitely.
Right,
Right,
boys.
is that us done?
Yeah.
Sound.
Sound us?